WCBI News at 10 starts now.
Good evening. Thanks so much for joining us tonight. Officers say that there's a rise in the number of reported child abuse cases. Well, in light of that, today in Starkville, officers took part in a child abuse investigation training. Our Quentin Smith joins us live in the studio with a look at some of those statistics. Hey, Quentin.
Yes, Scott. Sally K. Winters Family Services reports that from 2016 to 2017, the organization saw a 73% increase in the number of child abuse interviews they conducted. Now, a big reason for that is because more awareness is being brought to the issue, leading more people to come forward and report the abuse.
But when you start thinking about physical abuse cases...
Child abuse. It's a problem that plagues every community.
A child is an innocent person, and oftentimes they can't be able to help themselves.
Just within the past month, WCBI has reported on multiple alleged child abuse cases here in our area.
The man wanted in a child abuse investigation in Lowndes County is now behind bars.
A Caledonia woman is indicted for child abuse. The grand jury's decision was made public today.
The abuse comes in different forms, and Sally K. Winters is on the front line in many of these investigations.
Sally K. Winters provides forensic interviews for child victims of abuse. So we do felony child abuse investigations. We interview on kids that have been abused.
Now they're sharing their knowledge. During a training session, law enforcement officers, child protective services, and first responders learned new techniques for spotting signs of mistreatment.
We're trying to help provide law enforcement with every tool that they need to investigate child abuse and child sexual crimes especially. We're seeing an uptake in that in our community, and we don't think that it's just now starting to happen. We think that it's just beginning to be reported more.
We're doing two different presentations, one on corroborating evidence, so we've got a child that discloses something and getting them to think about some of the minor details that the child might bring up in their testimony to make their story come alive. This afternoon we're doing one more of the investigative piece, especially physical abuse investigations and what the investigators can do to help the kids to make their stories come alive.
Jim Holler is a former police chief and has more than 3 decades of law enforcement experience. He says the tools everyone learned during the seminar is important and can help prosecutors become more effective.
Just trying to pull all the facts together and making sure that we've got the details so we can bring a strong case to our prosecutor's office. And hopefully that case will be strong enough to proceed without a child having to testify.
Sally K. Winters Family Services and the District Attorney's Office co-sponsored today's training session. Scott?
All right, thanks, Quentin. New details tonight on the search for a man Monroe County deputies say removed his ankle bracelet. Well, take a look at your screen here. Deputies say that this is Audrey Adams. She's who deputies believe that is helping James Glenn Reese. Well, Reese is out on parole from the Mississippi Department of Corrections. Officers, they've been searching for him since last week. He's considered to be armed and dangerous, and deputies say that you do not need to approach him. If you have any information, just call the Monroe County Sheriff's Department. A stolen tractor is on its way back to the barn after Tishomingo County deputies arrest the 2 men accused of stealing it. Mark Michael and Dustin King were arrested for the crime. Well, surveillance cameras showed who investigators believe to be these 2 men taking it from the property. Michael is charged with grand larceny while King faces a conspiracy charge. Officials say there's one other person of interest connected to the case that they're still searching for. A trio in Tupelo is using a credit card, a stolen credit card that is, prompting police to seek your help trying to catch them. We'll take a look at these surveillance pictures here. Police say that the stolen card has been used at several spots around the city. The credit card was reported stolen back on March 3rd. If you have any information, you're asked to call Crime Stoppers of Northeast Mississippi. That number, 1-800-773-8477. The time now to get a first look at our forecast with Chief Meteorologist Keith Gibson. And Keith, it is downright cold out there.
It's chilly. It's a bit blustery as well. 46. That's not that cold, but we will get colder later on. But that wind from the northwest at 13 in Columbus. So there's a bit of a bite in the air. Some spots a little bit cooler than Columbus. 41 in Tupelo, 43 up there in Corinth. Lows tonight down into the low 30s in many spots. Generally clear skies. There were some clouds to the north trying to drift on through northeast Mississippi. Those clouds, if they're still with you, they'll go away here shortly. In Columbus over the next 24 hours, low 30s tonight, back into the mid 50s tomorrow. Lots of sun. The full forecast is coming up.
Well, new tonight at 10, this is the second year in a row that a rewrite of the school funding formula has been discussed at the state capitol, and it keeps hitting some roadblocks. Well, right now the proposed formula rewrite is dead, but there is a way to get it back on schedule before the 2019 legislative session. Meanwhile, education advocates are still pushing back on those changes. Courtney Ann Jackson explains.
You've likely seen legislative leaders make statements like this over the past several months.
I've said all along we want to work on a rewrite of the education funding formula. I think there's a better way of doing it. I think we can find a more reliable, predictable stream of revenue.
But a procedural motion in the Senate earlier this month effectively killed the bill that would have created a new funding formula. That was music to the ears of many advocates.
A sigh of relief. Definitely a lot of rejoicing when it did not happen. The public was not informed, and the public did not see exactly what it was that was going on. And it's their responsibility to put that out there and explain.
But wait, there's still a way the funding formula could get rewritten before next year.
If they think they can twist enough arms and offer enough deals to change enough votes, we may have a special session where legislators would be asked again to vote on this plan that would be just devastating to public schools.
Special session or not, advocates say they won't stop. They're asking parents and teachers to keep making their voices heard to lawmakers.
Even without the rewrite, we know that there are issues still to deal with the funding of our schools. Fighting for public education is going to be a continuous battle.
That was Courtney Ann Jackson reporting. The Senate now has a deadline tomorrow to take action on House Appropriations bill. That bill will determine the amount that K-12 schools get for the next fiscal year. Well, today has been on the calendars for many families in the area for over a year. Thousands of Mississippi National Guardsmen are being deployed. At the Columbus Armory, soldiers boarded a bus early this morning. These 35 men and women are part of the 9,000 total soldier deployment. Well, families and friends were there to see them off. Even though the deployment date has been known for some time now, the send-off for many was still hard.
These last couple days, especially yesterday, it starts you hitting you home, realizing in your last couple hours, not days anymore, weeks of time to spend with them.
We have FaceTime, I can send pictures every day, Skype, and there's so many ways to communicate nowadays that it would definitely make the time pass by and it'll make it a lot easier.
The soldiers' first stop was in Jackson. From there, they boarded a flight for Fort Bliss, Texas for additional training before heading overseas. 170 additional National Guardsmen left Starkville a little before noon. Well, this room at the National Guard Armory was filled with emotions, hugs, tears, and a few smiles. It's the third deployment for Battalion Commander Lieutenant Colonel Rodney Bowman, and this time it's a family affair as he ships out with his 2 sons and 2 nephews.
For them to both deploy at the same time, it's a whole different ballgame. They've been gone to when they joined the Guard, and they've done their basic training, and they've done their AIT training and stuff, and that's hard when they're gone and you don't have contact with them, but you know they're okay. So to send them off into harm's way and to send your whole entire family, it's a little bit different.
A lot of families are sad running around here, but a lot of soldiers are ready to try to get to the next step. We can't get finished till we get started. So a lot of anxiety built up for, a lot of young soldiers and family right now, but we're going to make it through today.
The couple says it was a very big day for soldiers and their families, and they're thankful for the community support. And last but not least, a similar sea of emotions lined the streets of Ackerman this morning as soldiers there, they shipped out for Fort Bliss as well. Veterans, residents, family, and friends, they were all hand-waving American flags as the troops rolled out of town. Ackerman has a population of less than 2,000, so nearly everyone there knows or is related to some of these men and women that are going off to fight for our country. The mayor says there are almost 50 soldiers being deployed from Choctaw County. Resident Trey Bowman has 3 cousins in the unit.
The guys that are deployed and the women that are deployed to know that they can leave and go fight for our freedom or this country and know that their community is going to support their family when they're gone.
A Desert Storm veteran and Choctaw County resident says that this is the 3rd deployment for this unit over the past 30 years.
Temperatures across the region right now. That cold air will be lifting back to the north as we go throughout the next few days. So chilly now, but warmer by the weekend and next week. The full forecast is next. Stay tuned.
Your first alert forecast with Chief Meteorologist Keith Gibson.
Lots of sunshine across our region today. This is how it looked with our Alpha Insurance Camera Network in Vernon, Alabama, Tupelo, and in Columbus. The setting sun. Not too bad of a day, just chilly and blustery at times. So that's how it was earlier. And this is the next 24 hours in Tupelo. We will be venturing down into low 30s tonight, back into the low and mid 50s tomorrow. A little bit cooler across the northern part of the area, a little bit warmer farther south. Chilly for the next couple of days and nights, down to the low 30s tonight, 50s tomorrow. Perhaps 29 in many spots here tomorrow night, Wednesday morning. 50s again Wednesday, then we're back into the mid to upper 60s Thursday. So 3 chilly nights, a couple of cool days, and then we should be home free with some warmer weather for the weekend. I want to show you this over the last 48 hours. If you look closely, there's a little swirl in those clouds right there, the water vapor imagery, and that little disturbance really intensified as it moved on through our region. That helped produce the thunderstorms around here Saturday and Saturday night. And now is really whipping up this big storm across the East Coast. We've got rain, wind, and snow, and this is really going to wrap up into a potent blizzard over the next 24 hours. Blizzard warnings now, including eastern Massachusetts, Cape Cod, back to the west, a winter storm warning. Just lots of snow and wind out here. Maybe 1 to 2 feet of snow in the next 24 hours for those folks up there. Around here, nothing like that. Still a bit breezy tomorrow at times, but basically sunshine all day long. And now that we've adjusted the time after the time change from 8 o'clock through 7 p.m., we should be mainly sunny here with temperatures topping out somewhere in the mid-50s to upper 50s along and south of 82. Low and mid-50s farther north towards the Tennessee state line. But a lot of sunshine across the region for our Tuesday. A little bit warmer farther south into the low to mid-60s, closer and closer to the coast. We've got high pressure coming on in for the next few days here, hence the great weather. A lot of sunshine. Again, cool nights or cold nights and cool days. We get on the backside of high pressure again, so our rain chances go up by Friday. We are introducing a chance for some showers here as we close out the work week. Maybe a few thunderstorms thrown into the mix too as we go throughout the weekend into next week. Again, upper 60s by Thursday, low 70s Friday, low to mid 70s for the weekend. 70s continue next week. So spring-like air is coming. We just have a little dance with winter for the next couple of days. Scott.
Hold on a little longer. Well, we knew they were going. It was just a matter of where and how high. Health State Hoops talks tourney travel plans later in sports.
You're watching WCBI News at 10 with Scott Martin.
Welcome back, everyone. Well, you may still be struggling after losing that hour of sleep, but there's another struggle that can hinder your sleeping habits and cause some problems, and that's sleep apnea. Here's more in our Health Talk with Baptist.
Hello, I'm Leslie Albright, Director of the Respiratory Therapy Department at Baptist Golden Triangle. Tonight, I want to talk to you about sleep. Do you know how much sleep you should be getting? 9 hours is usually enough for adults, but depending on the age and person, more or less time might be needed. The older you get, the less sleep you tend to need. Unfortunately, things like snoring, insomnia, and sleep apnea can disrupt our sleep. A disrupted sleep often leads to feeling unalert the next day and can stop us from carrying out our important daily tasks. Sleep apnea is a sleep disorder characterized by abnormal pauses in breathing or instances of abnormally low breathing during sleep. Apnea is a pause in breathing with no movement of the muscles for respiration and the volume remains unchanged. Each pause in breathing can last from 10 seconds to minutes and may occur 5 to 30 times or more an hour. Each abnormally low breathing event is called a hypopnea. Sleep apnea not only affects adults, but some children as well. The Baptist Memorial Hospital Golden Triangle Sleep Disorders Center treats a variety of sleep-related problems, including sleep apnea. We can also treat other conditions that can be disrupting your sleep, such as narcolepsy, insomnia, and restless leg syndrome. Join us next time for Health Talk with Baptist, when we will discuss the signs and symptoms of sleep apnea.
Mail your topic suggestions to healthtalk@wcbi.com. Health Talk has been brought to you by Baptist Memorial Hospital Golden Triangle.
Well, coming up, the Bulldogs are dancing and ready to make another Final Four run. Here from Hill State Hoops, Robbie has next in sports.
Here's WCBI Sports with Robbie Donahoe.
With your 1 seed there, Mississippi State Bulldogs. All I know is that Starkville just went wild. There's probably a lot of cowbells ringing. I can almost hear it in my ear right now.
Yeah, we can all hear it in Starkville. The history makers were at it again Monday night. For the first time in program history, Mississippi State earned a #1 seed in the NCAA women's basketball tournament. Bulldogs had to wait a little while before the big reveal on ESPN's selection show, but it was well worth the wait as MSU fans crowded into the hump, and they certainly did celebrate. Upon seeing Mississippi State showcased as the 1 seed in the Kansas City Regional, the Bulldogs will host Nichols on Saturday at Humphrey Coliseum. MSU a bit surprised to see that 8-9 matchup due to the fact that they're familiar with both teams. If MSU defeats Nichols, the Bulldogs will play the winner of Syracuse, Oklahoma State, two teams they played and defeated earlier this December. But for Mississippi State, they're ecstatic to be playing at home, playing in the big dance, and have earned that #1 seed.
They've earned it, bottom line. They've earned the #1 seed. I appreciate the committee rewarding them with that. And now we got to go defend it. That's the bottom line. You're still going to get everybody's best game plan, and you're going to go against some really good players.
It's a great feeling knowing like our hard work is, paying off, and we're in the #1 seed, so everybody's thinking, highly of us and thinking that we could do big things.
It's never been done here before, and I feel like we deserve, and our teammates put ourselves in a position to be able to do something like this, so it was an amazing feeling.
Playing in the hump means everything. Our fans are awesome, and they're so loud. They give us so much energy, and we want to play so hard for them, and so just to have another opportunity, especially for me as a senior, is really special.
I think the last game that we didn't show them how Mississippi State plays, and I feel like we have another chance to basically show them how we really play and to let them know that we appreciate them so much.
So the Bulldogs are a 1 seed in the Kansas City Regional, hosting in Starkville. The first and second round games will be hosted at the Hump. Saturday, the first game will be 2:30 between Oklahoma State and Syracuse. MSU will play at 5 p.m. against Nichols. Both those games are going to be on ESPN2 regionally. Monday's game time still to be determined, and if you are looking for a ticket to any of these games, best wishes, because Mississippi State announced earlier this evening that they are sold out completely. So you're either going to have to scalp, go online to find tickets through StubHub or Vivid Seats, or know a friend who has tickets, because right now it's all closed up. Other seeds in that Kansas City Regional: Texas is the 2 seed, UCLA the 3, NC State the 4, Maryland the 5. UConn's your #1 overall seed in the Albany Regional. South Carolina happens to be the 2 seed in that regional. Remember, South Carolina, they are your defending national champions, but they're going to have to go through UConn this time to defend their title, unlike MSU last year, who had to go through UConn to make it to the national championship game. 7 SEC teams in all are in the field of 64. We'll talk more Bulldogs coming up later this week. Well, if you by chance happen to know, it's the month of March, which means it's time for madness, and it's time to fill out your bracket, find out who's going to be the big upsets, who's going to be your Final Four, who's going to go play for a national championship. You're probably going to fill out a men's bracket. You may be filling out a women's bracket this year as well with Mississippi State, but as it is every year at this time of season, it's my time to give my gift to you in the form of bracket tips, chances and opportunities to sort of let you know what to go with, what not to go with on your bracket. My #1 tip for everyone who asks me, what do I pick in my brackets? Don't pick the 16 seeds to beat the 1, as it may be tempting. Only 1/16 has ever defeated a 1 seed in the history of the NCAA tournament. That was back in all the way in '98 when Harvard beat Stanford in the women's tournament, and only 15 1-16 matchups have been decided by 10 points or less. The last one came almost 10 years ago. The margin of victory the last 3 years in those 1-16 games, 25 or more points. So stick with the chalk on the 1-16 line. You make it fun and want to maybe take like an Alabama over a Villanova in the round of 32, but just be careful on that 1-16 line. We've never seen a 16 seed beat a 1. I'll have more bracket tips throughout the week leading up to Thursday's start to the big dance. To high school basketball, the Mississippi-Alabama All-Star Games will be coming up this weekend down in Jackson. The boys roster will consist of DeAnthony Tipler, Tyler Stevenson, Robert Woodard, and another guy that's signing with Mississippi State, DJ Stewart, so a couple area guys, and also an MSU signing. On the girls' side, Jaria Covington, Tabria Gandy, a couple state champs from Starkville, Shatasia Jones, also a state champ from Ingomar, and Daphne White also on there as well. Your north-south rosters on the north boys' side, Jacoria Stanfield, Vashawn Pounds of Oakland and Nelson, Jonathan Ashley will be one of the coaches. On the north side for the girls, Chloe Hammock, Jaleesa Outlaw of Starkville, Garabeth Self of Ingomar, and Lauren Thompson also of Ingomar. Also on that girls' north side, Hannah White of Columbus, Zaire Burgess of Lafayette, along with Mariah Holland, and Matt Justice of Tupelo. We have those full rosters you can catch online on our website at WCBI.com. We'll talk more Mississippi State as well in the NIT. They play Wednesday night against Nebraska, so plenty of hoops coming up this week. That is it for sports. We'll get a last look at your forecast next.
It's cool tonight when you wake up, probably in the low 30s, but we'll see a lot of sunshine on Tuesday, mid-50s. Cold tomorrow night and then Wednesday night, but Scott, in about 3 days here, we're back into spring-like air, 60s and 70s return. Rain chances come back as well. We've been in this pattern with weekend rain, and that will continue.
I know, that part kind of sucks, but the 70s, I'll take the 70s.
Hey, it's better than what we got.
True. Thanks, Keith. Thanks for watching. Have a good night. We'll see you tomorrow.